I don't want to be known anymore just for sex. I want to be known for my history, for my people, for my art, for my culture, for my food.
Millions of people come to Aruba for its beaches. And after spending a week here, I realized the people who call this island home want visitors to discover something deeper. Today, we're exploring San Nicolas, searching for sea glass, climbing Aruba's iconic lighthouse, and ending at a local restaurant that's become an island favorite. Before leaving Aruba, I wanted to understand the places that shaped this island.
We are in the town of San Nicolas. It's at the southern part of the island, and it's a real testament on what can be done in a mere decade. About 10 years ago, this was basically a ghost town. It was abandoned by the oil industry, but a local decided to change all that, started an art fair, and now there are street murals everywhere, about 80 of them, but 100 have been made through the past decade.
But the murals here tell the story of Aruba, its people, its history, its challenges, and the things this island wants future generations to remember.
2016 is where we placed the first ones. We keep moving, changing, because it's an outdoor gallery, not an outdoor museum. Every year you go to a museum, you see the same thing. Right. Every year you go to the same gallery, you will find different stuff. So that's the same philosophy with the outdoor murals. And for the gentlemen, this is the only booby you can touch without getting into trouble, no? Just saying, you know? Because see, it's 3D. Yes, this one, shoulders as well, and also the thighs here is 3D.
A lot of these artists come from all over the world, and they're not just painters. Some work in mosaic and metal, which gives San Nicolas murals their texture and depth. And honestly, that's what surprised me most. You don't just see them, you feel them.
Now, this town of San Nicolas is considered the street art capital of all the Caribbean.
This crab is made out of trash. The artist is trying to tell you that we're doing a crabby job taking care of Mother Nature. This one over here is called the fading prikichi. The prikichi is our national bird. But as you can see here, it's fading away because a couple of idiots a couple of years ago decided it was cool to bring boas to the island to impress the ladies. But the boas became too big. They decided it was cool to let the boas go die of hunger in the wild. Problem is, they never died. Now we have a boa freaking epidemic here on Aruba that is killing all of our smaller animals. You see all the flowers here you will find in the wild, but none of these flowers are actually from Aruba. These are all imported by the foreigners that were working at the refinery. That's why she's called the melting pot, because it's thanks to the refinery that nowadays we celebrate 108 nationalities living at peace here.
The murals aren't just something to look at, some use technology to bring the artwork to life. San Nicolas shows how Aruba continues to reinvent itself, but the island's story goes back much further than street art.
We are in the Aruba Aloe Factory, and actually the area where the aloe vera plants are. There's 8 acres of them here, which may or may not sound like a lot, but at one point these plants covered 2/3 of the island. The plants are not native here, but they were introduced by the Dutch in 1840, and eventually it became the #1 industry here in Aruba and lasted for more than a century.
The same landscape that shaped Aruba's industries is still visible today. Across the islands, places like these salt ponds are reminders of a time before tourism transformed Aruba.
If you get a chance to go to the northern part of the island, must-see here is the California Lighthouse. It was built between 1914 and 1916. It has since been renovated, and you can go up to the top to get a great view. But I gotta warn you, it's very windy out there. But don't worry, it's caged, so your hat, like mine, won't get lost.
Thanks for choosing us. This is just a small part from last week.
That is so pretty.
Super fun, it's early in the morning. Great time to be out here. We're here on Sea Glass Island. It's only a few hundred yards away. gave us a chance to collect something called sea glass. It's one of the few things you can take home that's in nature.
The trick is to put it to the sunlight, and if you can see through it, you know you found a little piece of sea glass.
The sea glass here was from an old glass bottling factory. The glass has been here for well over 100 years. Harvesting or digging for sea glass is a lot like an archaeological dig. What do you collect? Well, it depends. Me, I'm collecting little blue pieces for my fairy garden, which I'm showing you right now. Other people make jewelry out of it. There used to actually be a person that would make your jewelry for you here, but that tour does not exist anymore. So maybe like 4. We are in Zeerovers. It's a restaurant that was very highly rated. We went during the off time. The off time still made us wait 30 minutes. But now we know what the big deal is. The food, about 1/3 of the price on the island. So if you don't mind waiting in line a little bit, you get amazing food and this majestic atmosphere. Every day the fishermen come in, drop off their flutes, and onto our plates. The menu actually changes every day a little bit. The thing you do have to contend with is these seagulls. These seagulls are ferocious. They even took one of the fried shrimp my friend paid for right out of her basket.
Aruba's story isn't told by one community alone. It's reflected in the people who have made this island home. While Zeerovers is a favorite gathering place for both locals and visitors, I wanted to end my time in Aruba with a different flavor of the island. Kamini's kitchen may not catch your eye from the outside, but that's part of its charm. Places like this reflect the many cultures that have shaped Aruba over generations, and remind me that one of the best ways to understand an island is to sit down and share a meal. Aruba will always be known for its beaches, but beyond the shoreline is an island shaped by creativity, resilience, and history. A town that found new life through art. A landscape shaped by salt, aloe, and industry. A coastline where the past continues to reveal itself. And communities eager to share the stories that define who they are. Because every place has a deeper story, if we take the time to look. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Mary Goes Round the World.
To have an authentic experience, try a B&B right in the center of town. In this case, we're in the town of Santa Cruz. The other nice thing is you get a free breakfast, obviously, and it's usually very local. The other thing is it's a lot cheaper. Almost for the price of a single night at one of those big resorts, you can stay here for nearly a week.
Welcome to Fuego Bed and Breakfast.
Can we look around?
Yes, of course.
All right, thank you. Look at this. There's a pool. If we have any cultural questions, you can always ask her. Each morning, breakfast is served out here. Now I'm going to show you some of the yummy foods that we've been served all week. So it's not like you have to lug your luggage through hallway after hallway. There you go. My recommendation for lodging. The island's only 20 miles long, 6 miles wide, so it's actually not hard to find something that's close to everything. In this case, Santa Cruz, which is kind of in the middle of the island.